I want to talk about the Eagles' defense. And that the Eagles' defense, I have a feeling, is going to become the identity of this Philadelphia football team going forward. But instead, I'm getting suckered into another Jalen Hurts hate conversation on Twitter this morning. Phillies lock up a first-round bye. Is Christopher Sanchez one of the greatest bright spots in recent memory with Phillies history? The guy's been pretty damn good this year, and it was kind of out of left field. Lots of Eagles talk, lots of Phillies talk. Hey, we're only about a week or so away from basketball starting, too. Trending in the AM, we're live, taking your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We are live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You know the drill wherever you're watching, whichever platform you are watching on. Make sure you do me that favor. Hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe or follow button. Make sure you click all the buttons. Do what you got to do to get everybody to find this show. Get whatever you got to do to help spread the word of Trending in the AM, the number one morning show online or on the dial here in Philadelphia, talking what you want to talk and taking your opinions, whether I like them or not. We take all your opinions and we talk about it, guys. We got a jam-packed show today. We are talking Eagles. We are talking Phillies. Eagles related. I started thinking yesterday about the identity of this football team and how it's slowly going to become the defense that brings the identity to this team. So we're going to talk about that. Nick Sirianni spoke yesterday. There was a walkthrough instead of practice yesterday. Injury updates, fines levied on the Devontae Smith hit. So we're going to talk all that. The Phillies clinched the first-round bye, which was very important for the Phillies. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And my Phillies question of the day is, was Christopher Sanchez's 2024 season one of the biggest bright spots we can remember over the last 10, 12, 15 years of Phillies baseball? I think it's been really, really fun to watch Christopher Sanchez's development this year and him getting to pitch the clincher or the game that locked up the bye last night and pitch well again. He was only giving up 6 home runs in the entire season this year. It's a remarkable season for him. So they're the main things I want to talk about. Obviously, we got Thursday Night Football and how big of a game it actually is for the Eagles. So we're going to talk about that as well. Right into the comments we go. Fangio, at least for 1 week, showed why he was hired to fix this defense. Marshawn, correct. And a lot of talk this week is about Jalen Carter, whether it was from Fangio or Nick Sirianni, about building upon last week's game. You know, setting the standard last week and building upon it. And between Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter wasn't why I came up with this idea about the defense and the identity and them being young and hungry. The reason why I came up with the defense was because I just put out a random tweet yesterday, and it didn't blow up or anything like that, but it's just something that got in my mind. True or false, will Quinyon Mitchell get his first interception this week against Tampa Bay? And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Sidney Brown eventually, Cooper DeJean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The identity of this defense is young, hungry, energetic, like huge person. There's a lot of big personalities on this defense. vocal personalities, loud, brass people that'll chirp and get in your face, hit you hard, play fast. And I'm kind of thinking, when you look on the offense, yeah, you got Jalen Hurts, you got A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith. You got that offensive line, but there's no personality there. Maybe a little bit from A.J. Brown, a little bit from Jordan Mailata. The personality, which is what the identity of a football team is, comes on the defensive side. Now, again, at least for 1 week, that part of your statement here, it's got to be built upon. It can't be. We talk about stacking wins in other sports. We got to stack these kind of performances. So it's a step in the right direction. Good morning, Steve. How you doing? I have a Widener Union scarf. Absolutely. I appreciate that. I'll rock that on the air here. I'm excited. Like the Phillies, I've been very down on the Phillies this year, Steve. You know that. I have not been Mr. Positive when it comes to the Phillies, but it is Red October here next week. Playoffs start next week. On a side note, MLB, because of Hurricane Helene. I thought it was Helena. I think I heard some news reporter say Helena. I think I've been pronouncing it wrong. Because of that, they're going to have to play on Monday, the Mets and the Braves, a doubleheader to determine their seeding in the playoffs, and someone's going to get screwed. Baseball screwed that up big time. Not planning. Obviously, this hurricane didn't just come out of left field. Whatever. And not that I want to help the Mets or the Braves, but I think the MLB really did them dirty and really screwed them over big time. Good morning, Little G. How are you this morning? Put it this way. If the Eagles won week 2, that would have been the back-to-back weeks of the defense holding opponents to under 20. Yeah. This Eagles defense does have something building, identity and feeling-wise. And I think it's special. And I think it comes down to, in my opinion, the leaders going forward. We just lost Fletcher Cox. Darius Slay is at the end of his career. They've been the guys for how long on this defense now? Quinyon Mitchell and Jalen Carter, they're the captains of the future. They're the leaders of the future. They're the elite of this defense. And I don't know if you could have found 2 better guys. Now, the thing is, Jalen Carter was great last year for 8, 10, 12 weeks, and then he fell off. We need to see him sustain a full season of success. And that's going to be the big key to this conversation. Stash. If you're going stash, then you've got to go Hollywood Hogan stash. Where nobody seems excited. People brought up the stash, but I keep bringing it back up. No one wants to do anything for me to get. I'm not just going to go stash. Something big has to happen. I'm at 80 subscribers on my YouTube channel. EOP's YouTube channel has 14,900. I think a certain number of subscribers on each channel has to be hit. And maybe a donation to the SBC in honor of my beard needs to be made. And then we'll get there, okay? But not till then. We're trying to talk defense. And, Brian, here we go. Again, trying to bring Jalen Hurts into the conversation. And as always, I will address it. And, WWWIP has a poll going. Is Jalen Hurts a top 10 quarterback? And oddly enough, he's not. He's got a lot more no's than yeses, which is disrespectful because there are not 10 quarterbacks better than Jalen Hurts in the NFL right now. Plain and simple. Uncle Vic ain't scared to tell Howie to be quiet. Uncle Vic ain't scared to tell players to step it up or control. And I talked about it a little bit yesterday before we devolved into a Jalen Hurts conversation when Vic Fangio was asked about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson this week on today's Thursday. So that would have been Tuesday that he spoke to the media. He said, yeah, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, blah, blah, blah. But he's got to, hold on, I want to get the right word here. What did he say? He's got to be careful. Got to be careful. And I love that about Uncle Vic. He's not afraid to tell a player, sometimes you got to reel that energy in as well. You can't let fines and suspensions and penalties ruin good performances. On a side note, the player of the Saints that literally knocked Devontae Smith unconscious got a whopping $4,600. I'm laughing even saying it. $4,600 fine. We see $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 fines for farting on the field. That Saints player got a 46. Can't even say it. It is ludicrous. What is Uncle Roger Goodell doing? Nothing has been levied against the offensive lineman that knocked Slay 40 feet into the stands, unless that's still to come. What are we doing with suspensions and fines? You literally tried to rip a guy's head off. Phillies are mid. We have 2 decent pitchers. Look, first off, say something nice about some team in Philadelphia, please, Brian. Please say something nice about some player in Philadelphia, please. Make me realize that you're not totally negative all the time. I agree the Phillies might be a little mid. I have said it. They're one and done in the playoffs. But I'm trying to bring positivity to the Phillies and bring up the question, is Christopher Sanchez one of the brightest spots we've seen in the last 10 or 15 years? Kind of bright spots in the sense of weren't expecting much and then had a phenomenal season. So I want to bring Christopher Sanchez and give him his due. What's up, Bruce Bryce Harper? Damn, pump man woke up angry. Every day he wakes up angry. Buccaneers got smoked last week. They will be motivated as hell. Absolutely. I don't know about 300 yards for Baker. Our defense is pretty damn good. And that's the point. Our defense is becoming the identity. I got all the stats of what Todd Bowles has done to the Eagles his last 4 starts against Jalen Hurts as a coach, how many times he's blitzed, what the Eagles' record is. I got all that information ready for today and tomorrow. I feel our D is much better this year so far, as we've seen have great leadership. Yeah, I mean, Sean Desai / Matt Patricia. Yeah, it is what it is. And last year was pretty bad. But you've also added a lot of key pieces this year. You've also gotten a lot younger. And you've got a lot of young guys on the – let me pull up the depth chart here. Who are the oldest guys on our defense? Outside of Brandon Graham, who's ancient as hell. Zach Baughn's 27, I believe. Darius Slay's like 30-something. They're your old guys. Everybody else is pretty young on this defense. So they're going to be together for a while. They're going to grow together for a while. And I think Jalen Carter's nastiness and Quinyon Mitchell's, skill set are going to be the foundation that build this Eagles defense into what they're going to be going forward, the identity of this football team. And we're Philadelphia. We want tough, great defenses. I think Eagles fans would prefer a top 5 defense over top 5 offense any day of the week, because we like that gritty, that defensive-minded attitude. We remember the Buddy Ryan era so fondly, even though it was bad. We remember, how good the Eagles defense was in the Super Bowl year. That's what we want. That's what we love. Playoffs are a whole new season. Phillies did what they needed to get the wild card bye. Wasn't a fun ride to get there at times, but I'm all for it. Look, they're just over. K1's not in the chat just yet. They're just over 500 in their last 80 games. So, which is a very average team over the last 80 games. It's fine. It is the playoffs now. You got Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez. Yes, Christopher Sanchez, not Rangers Suarez as your top 3 pitchers. Hopefully, Casty, Harper, JT, Trey, Schwartz, Bohm. Hopefully they can hit consistently for a month. And if they can hit consistently for a month, we'll see what happens. But I think all the teams in the playoffs are playing pretty good baseball right now. The Padres are. The Mets are, for the most part. So the Dodgers have Shohei Ohtani. So it's not going to be a cakewalk in the playoffs by any means. And there's a chance that even if they get bounced, they don't get bounced because they stink. They get bounced because they just faced a hotter team at the right time. Hopefully this first interception is a pick 6, get the redemption from last year's collapse. Yeah, I mean, a pick 6 is always fun, especially for your first interception, Joshua. I mean, it's not a requirement. Like, it's cool. It'd be great, but I'm not concerned. You are all wrong a lot lately, Brian. Last time I seen the Phillies in the postseason, we lost 2 in a row at Citizen Bank Park. Last year. Yes, I know. I got you. Let's see how it plays out, Pump Man. But I respect Pump's opinions might annoy me, but Pump stands firm. He doesn't answer my follow-up questions to his opinions, but he stands firm. And I give him credit. He takes a lot of heat in our chat for his opinion, but he stands firm. And that's what makes Trending Marshawn in the AM so special. The name of the show is not Trending Marshawn in the AM. It's Trending in the AM Marshawn. Because somebody like Brian can come here, have his piece, say his piece, and have his moment. Games 6 and 7 are still fresh in my memory too. Yeah, look, last year fell apart. And that's partially why I keep saying one and done in the playoffs. But all it takes is getting hot in baseball playoffs. It just takes getting hot. That's why teams like the Diamondbacks, the Astros, the Astros cheated. Why teams get hot in the playoffs and go on runs in baseball. I actually like how the Saints played defense on us. Maybe we should implement. Stop. We don't need no bounty gates, Brian. $4,600 fine for literally knocking a man unconscious. When literally fines are levied for everything. I think that's the smallest fine I've seen in the history of football. Jalen is a talented quarterback, Rick says, but he needs to be a smarter quarterback. His football IQ is what has him out of the top 10 quarterbacks right now. Wow. I can't believe, Rick, you say that. You're Mr. Positive all the time. Until he learns to I still think, even with all the turnovers, nobody can name 10 quarterbacks that I would take over Jalen Hurts. Plain and simple. There are not, and that is not necessarily meaning, not me saying Jalen is this amazing elite quarterback. It's a detriment to how bad quarterback play is in the NFL. There's Josh Allen. There's Patrick Mahomes. Even though his record doesn't say it, Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, maybe. And who else? I'm not taking Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts right now. He stinks. I'm not taking Trevor Lawrence. I'm not taking Dak Prescott. Probably not taking Matthew Stafford. I'm still not taking Jordan Love. I'm definitely not taking Jalen Daniels like John Marks and Brandon Lee Gowton idiotically say on the air the other day. There aren't. Somebody tried to tell me on Twitter just a few minutes ago, because that's the conversation of the day on WIP. Is he a top 10 quarterback? People are trying to tell me that Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. Get that shit out of here. He's a top 10 quarterback. Now, yes, he might be in that bottom part of the top 10. Maybe I'm willing to admit that because of the turnovers. But there aren't 10 quarterbacks better than Jalen Hurts in the NFL right now. CJ got an $11K fine for his helmet celebration. A helmet celebration gets you fined $11K. Maybe fined by, I would have to research that, Marshawn, or somebody can research that, because I've never heard that before. Maybe that would make sense. I don't know what the guy that hit him makes, but maybe. It's $4,600 because it's based on his salary. I've never heard that before. So maybe that is the case, okay? And if that's the case, no offense to you guys, you got Marshawn and Brian, you bringing that up. If that's the case, I got a problem with the media, the Eagles media, reporting the fine and not mentioning that when they report the fine. Because all the media that's reporting the fine is firing me up about how low of a fine it was. And nobody in the media said it's because of the salary. So if that's true, Brian, Marshawn, thank you for bringing that up. I'm not fact checking mid-show. But if that's the case, that makes a lot more sense. Is Micah Parsons' burner account? maybe it's Micah Parsons' brother's burner account, right? Phillies win the World Series championship this season. Rick, you'll see this grown-ass man cry on the air if that happens. You will. ECP, what's up? Yeah. Phil, I'm going to have to wait and see before I say our defense is good. I absolutely agree, Brian. I'm not doing it. I'm saying it could be the identity of this team, and I've said it. You got to stack these performances. You can't have one good week and then go out as you predict and give 300 yards up to Baker Mayfield this week. Just can't do it. Now the Bucs are banged up on the offense and defensive line, so that's in our favor right there. You can blitz and get after Baker Mayfield. They don't run the ball well this year so far, even though Rachaad White's a very good running back that they have there. So we should be able to get pressure. We should be able to push them. Our cornerbacks are going to have a challenge with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Not as good as Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, but probably the most underrated wide receiver duo in football. I've said it countless times over the years. Mike Evans might be the most underrated wide receiver in all of football. That dude has had something like 8 or 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and you wouldn't know it because no one talks about him. He's a slam dunk fantasy football play every single year. Why? Because he's consistent. He's out there putting up numbers every single year. It don't matter if it's Tom Brady, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston, whoever throwing him the football. Mike Evans is an elite. Mike Evans made Johnny Football a first-round quarterback in an NFL draft one year. That's how good he is. That's Mike Evans to me, and this is not to hype up the Buccaneers, so underappreciated in the NFL world. This secondary is very good. If the D-line, and that's the thing. Everyone talks about the bust contracts that Slay and Bradbury got after 22. Slay and Bradbury put up those numbers in 2022 because of how great the defensive line is, or was. 2023, the defensive line wasn't as good. The secondary struggled. This year, in a 3-game sample size, the defensive line's been better. I know we're not getting sacks. I know Bryce Huff's a bust at this point, but the D-line and the secondary go hand in hand. Slay should not be benched. Slay is better than Isaiah Rodgers and Keely Ringo at this point. He is not the number one. I will say this, Brian. I've said it on this show many times that Quinyon Mitchell, not Darius Slay, is the best cornerback on this team. I said it before week 1. I did. I want to see more Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I absolutely want to see more Cooper DeJean. And hopefully we start to see him, rotated in more and more in the slot. You're going to see him as the punt returner for the next 6 or 7 weeks with Britton Covey being out with the broken shoulder as well. What is up, Mitchie Poo? Congratulations. Yes, Derrick Rose did announce his retirement. I always say it's Grant Hill and Derrick Rose, the 2 biggest what-ifs in NBA history. I mean, if Derrick Rose doesn't blow out his ACL, was it his 2nd or 3rd year, and then do it again. I still remember when he hurt his knee against the Sixers in that game. Derrick Rose could have been an all-time great. Derrick Rose was so good at getting to the rim. He was so fast. He was such a great guard. Dude, I'm telling you, Derrick Rose might be the biggest what-if didn't get injured player in NBA history. And I don't know if anybody agrees or disagrees with that. The blank man. Milk Missile. Is that what we're calling Reef Blankenship? Good morning, Eric. How you doing? And the Phillies have Bryce Mother bleeping Harper baby. Who's going to be, if the Phillies go on a run this playoffs, if they get deep, if they get to the NL pennant, if they get to the World Series, who is it going to be offensively that's the star? Remember in 22, it was Bryce Harper and Reese Hoskins. Bryce Harper has a flair for the dramatic. Bryce Harper is also banged up. That elbow is hurting big time right now. He can't wait till the season's over so he can rest that elbow. Is it going to be Bryce Harper? I have a feeling we're going to have a big Trey Turner playoffs if we find success. Trey Turner and Alec Bohm. They're going to be the guys that carry this team if they're going to get to the World Series, offensively speaking. I want to see Devin White too. A, you're going up against his former team. B, Bryce Huff does absolutely jack shit out there. You're telling me you can't put Devin White out there? We saw in the last game Vic Fangio pivot, even though Vic Fangio loves, and we all love, Zach Bond in the middle. He's developed into this magically great middle linebacker. You saw Vic Fangio move Zach Bond to the outside a few times last week. So activate Devin White. Vic Fangio holds people accountable so far. Well, deactivate Bryce Huff for 1 week and activate Devin White and rotate things around at linebacker there. Why not? What harm can happen by doing that? I don't know. Reading Cooper, a.k.a. Snowed Out. Interesting. To be honest, we would have lost to the Rangers even if we got through. Last year to the World Series. Yeah, the Rangers were playing some amazing. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know if the Rangers were the best team really in baseball. They got hot. Joe Burrows. Stop. You come in and make one comment. That's what you make? Way to bring something to the conversation, K1. Imagine if we had C.J. Stroud. What, C.J. Stroud, the guy that's hitting a sophomore slump, hitting a brick wall because there's tape on him right now? What has C.J. Stroud done this year, Brian? FYI, I'm just curious. I feel Jalen is elite, especially if we give him some time, and maybe 5 quarterbacks could be better, in my opinion. Jalen Daniels? What? Or are you talking about Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts is elite, in my opinion. Elite in the second group of elite, because no one's a Patrick Mahomes. All right, let's see what we got here. Long comment. If Philadelphia fans continually keep expecting and speaking negativity over their teams, and that's what the universe will reward them with. This is a very philosophical comment here from Rick. Luckily, the inverse is true as well. Find a way to speak and expect positive, outcomes, and that's what we receive. Hey, I love it. I agree. Be positive. Positivity. I'm a huge fan of Jalen Hurts, but just needs to do a lot more homework, I think. Just got to stop playing hero ball. I believe it's 10% of his main salary. Oh, I'm way far behind on comments. I'm sorry, guys. I'm way far behind on comments. I feel Jalen is a top 5 as Mahomes, Allen, Burrows, and probably Lamar are better. Yeah, I forgot to mention Lamar. I would take Lamar. I would rank Lamar over Jalen. I don't know if I would take Lamar over Jalen, but I would rank him as a better quarterback over him for sure. Good morning, Duck. It is less than 1% of his salary. I'm so far, but how dare this guy mentions missing Parsons with mine? I feel Jalen is better than Stafford, Rodgers, Stafford, Herbert, and Dak. Absolutely. Godwin is who scares me the most. Godwin and Baker have good chemistry. Absolutely. Absolutely. As long as this defense prevents opposing teams from scoring, I would consider it an elite defense. As long as we score more runs than the other team, we win, right? If we can't get to Baker, we are cooked. We haven't gotten to any quarterback yet this year. But we have gotten pressure. And last week, they listened to me, and they got their hands up, and we had multiple batted balls at the line of scrimmage. And that's important. I feel everyone shouldn't blame Jalen when the Eagles lose, but the quarterback and head coach always get the blame. Yeah, that is what it is. The quarterback's always to blame. The coach is always to blame. Eagles will keep Tampa's offense on the sidelines with their dominant offensive line, dominant run game. That is the key. I mean, I've got all the stats here of how much Todd Bowles likes to blitz Jalen Hurts. On 138 dropbacks in the last 4 games, the Eagles are 1-3 with Jalen Hurts against Todd Bowles. 138 dropbacks, 91 times they blitzed, 65.9%. And he only completed 61 passes, 4 TDs, 4 interceptions, 4 sacks. But Jalen Hurts this year, his percentage has gone up almost 10% against the blitz. His yards per attempt have gone up. His sack rate has gone down. So Jalen Hurts is getting better against the blitz. Will Todd Bowles see that and adjust what he does? We will find out on Sunday. We could put Baker on his ass a few times. It will get antsy back there. Absolutely. And Baker's prone to make a mistake here or there. How many quarterbacks got paid on the backs of the Cowboys defense? Jordan Love. Yeah, that's true. I like that. What's happening with Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? He just doesn't, he's young, Santos, and thanks for the question. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is a part of the future of this defense. We're talking a lot of defense today. He is a part of the future of this defense, without a doubt. The problem is, Santos, and he's playing special teams. So, he is out there on special teams every time. Kick, punt returns, etc. Problem is, Kobe Dean's playing well. Zach Bond is playing out of his mind. There's no, you only run 1 or 2 linebackers right now anyway. He just can't, he can't get on the field yet. And I think if there was an injury, they wouldn't have a problem using him. But Jeremiah Trotter Jr., he's a rookie. He needs time to develop. I would be more concerned about why aren't they putting Jalix Hunt out there when Bryce Huff still refuses to make an impact on this game, on any game. Dirk Rose greater than a lot of point guards, Westbrook, Kyrie. The problem is he's not greater than those guys because of the injuries. He could have been better than all of them, but because of the injuries, he's not. And Marshawn, I just remember his rookie year. I don't even remember when. It was against the Sixers. There was a random game against the Sixers his rookie year, and I watched him. I don't even remember who it was against, who was defending him. He got by him so fast. I was like, damn, this guy's going to be special. I've only said damn about a rookie a few times in my life. And I've been right once, wrong once, and with Derrick Rose, injuries prevented me from being right. I remember the first time I saw Iverson live crossover Jordan, I was like, damn, we're winning a title. I remember the first time I saw Jahlil Okafor in the post, I was like, damn, this guy's going to be good. And then I remember Derrick Rose. That's the three things right there. Grant Hill bigger than Derrick Rose? Maybe. For the old heads, Grant Hill was pretty damn special. When I brought this up on Twitter, someone else mentioned Brandon Roy. I don't know. Maybe. I just don't remember his college career enough. I feel it will be Schwarber as the star of the play. God damn, I'm behind on comments, guys. I really got to fire through these here. I feel it will be Schwarber. Maybe. I mean, it would be great. Bohm going to be an offensive star this postseason. Yeah, he's got to show off for his new girlfriend, right? Taiwan Walker redemption in the postseason. Shout out to my girl Kylie. Sully getting to ask Rob Thompson a question about the postseason roster last night in the postgame press conference. Sully does a kick-ass job with her Bell Smashers pod and her writing for PSN. Love hearing her get that opportunity there. Cassidy, Schwarber, Harper, and Trey. They step up and we run the table. So just half the team needs to step up and we run the table. Phil, I feel Turner and Bohm are awesome, but I feel Schwarber will be the player who leads us in the offseason, even if the DH. Lead by example or lead just as the leader? Well, we'll see how that goes. Can't wait for the Jelks Hunt seal to be cracked. It should be cracked already, K1. It should be. I mean, what is Vic Fangio talks honestly and bluntly so much, but yet when it comes to Bryce Huff, he's like, well, it's almost like he's like looking over his shoulder, looking for Howie to peek around the corner, because Bryce Huff was a Howie decision. Zach Vaughn was a Vic decision. Almost like he's been told, you're playing Bryce whether you like it or not, and that is a detriment. That is one of Howie Roseman's big issues. He meddles too much. Jelks Hunt hasn't been on the field for one defensive play, and he's already done more than Bryce Huff. It makes no sense to me. No way Bryce Huff can be this bad. Are we sure? Yeah, Bryce Huff is a one-hit wonder. I mean, he played 42% of snaps last year and had 10 sacks. His 3 previous years combined, he didn't have 10 sacks, I don't think. So he just kind of boomed out of nowhere. We gave him big money, and he's just the new radicals of defensive edge guys. What proof do we have that Jack's shit did anything? I like that. Rangers were not the best team, but they were playing insane postseason. That's all it takes in baseball. Hot in the playoffs. That's all it takes. Eyes to the sky. Yeah, I mean, anybody in the path of Helene, buckle down. It's going to be a crazy couple days incoming to Florida. CJ Stroud will have this team 3-0. Would he? There's tape on CJ Stroud. He's not doing too good. Rick is putting some zen. I love Rick's positivity. I do. I truly do. And guys, if you don't know Rick, I know he posts from his Facebook account on this show. I don't know if he's got a YouTube account he could post from. Find Rick's podcast. They talk beer and birds, and they do fantastic work. I've listened to a couple of his episodes. They have a lot of fun, and they do some great content there. So look up Rick on social media and find his podcast, guys. Rick, I'll even give you free permission. Copy and post a link and put it in the comments if you'd like. Nick hanging by a thread. Bobby McFarland said, don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. I'll be happy. Jalen needs to learn how to trust his teammates. Case in point, the Dallas Goedert pass that accumulated yak hero ball is what kills him. Absolutely. Have trust and realize you can live to fight another play. AJ needs to return. He might wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Yeah. Should AJ Brown play on Sunday? I say if he's 85 to 90%, he should not play. You got the bye coming up. Hamstrings scare me. I am a conservative man early in the season in all sports when it comes to hamstrings, because if you rush them back, it can linger all year long. Quote from Brandon Lee Gouton from New Orleans Saints defensive lineman Christian Boyd has been fined $4,600, 0.5% of his salary this year for his hit. Okay, that's good. I didn't see that part of it. I saw tweets about the fine, and I just thought it was too low. I had no clue till this morning on this show that it was based off of your salary. But 0.58%, is that even enough? I mean, that was a dangerous hit. Hell, you should be suspended for a game. I would have hoped. Yeah, I won't. I won't. We can talk about a dominant run game when we know Kellen, Nick, and Lori will not allow a run-heavy game. I mean, with as dominant as Saquon Barkley was last week, he still only had 17 rushing attempts? Not enough. You're on. Sorry, yeah, got it. All that is going to change. Hurts needs to trust his playmakers to make plays. I'd like to see Shipley mixed in. I mentioned that on, I think, Tuesday's show, maybe, or Wednesday's show. When Nick Sirianni was talked, and he said, when he was asked about the wide receiver room with the injuries and stuff like that, he mentioned the running back room. So we might see some more Gainwell, Shipley, Barkley, 2 running back sets this week if A.J. Brown doesn't go. Eric, we might see these guys, get an opportunity. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out, but there is a chance. Hurricane winds will keep the ball out of the air. Yeah, I'm curious. I haven't really looked. I think the rain portion is supposed to be gone by Saturday afternoon, but the outskirts of the hurricane will still affect. I'm sure that field is being protected, but I know all flights are canceled as of, I think, today at noon. No more flights are going in and out of Tampa, or 2 o'clock today. So either the Eagles are going to be traveling down there really late on Saturday, or they're going today. They're probably going really late on Saturday. So it'll be interesting. Prime D Rose put fear in the elite point guard before the injuries. Without a doubt, Eric. We only have Saquon and Dallas Goedert. D Rose stole an MVP from LeBron. Stole or earned? Phil, we are going way over the probably. Probably. You never know. Maybe I sneak it in the next 5 minutes. Brandon Roy. Penny Hardaway, man. There's another what if. T-Mac is I think T-Mac, Tracy McGrady could have been a top 40 player all time. Could have. Grant Hill probably could have too. Penny Hardaway, I remember him more for his little marionette doll commercials more than anything else. That is a hell of a what if roster, though. Give me your big. I'm going to write this down. This is a Twitter thread right here. What if NBA roster? I like that. I like that one, Eric. Eric, you're giving me Twitter content right here. I'll give y'all an X Factor. Johnny Wilson touchdown coming in. I like it. I like that prediction. I wonder what I haven't looked at the odds board yet, Brian. I wonder what a Johnny Wilson anytime touchdown odd is. Price is. That would be something to look at. Rose could double hand slam off the vert at 6'2", 200. He was different. He didn't. Yeah. It was special. Let's talk about Jalen, then go to Jalen, then back to Jalen. I love it, Mitchie Poo. You're so spot on with that. That's why I'm getting confused on which Jalen we're talking about. Imagine this team if Howie and Nick could get out of their own way. Yeah, absolutely. Bryce Huff played on one of the best D-lines in the game. Our D-line is pretty special here in Philly with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham playing like a 25-year-old right now. Josh Sweat is actually up there in the top 10 in pressure percentage per snap this year so far. And he's just not getting home. I wonder if you can. Here is Rick's podcast. 2 birds, 1 show. Google it. You'll find it. He does fantastic work. Any show that talks football and beer, you just can't go wrong. There's a few curse words mixed in, too. I love it. I can't. Sorry, Rick, I'm not going to act like I catch every episode. But the 3 or 4 that I've seen and listened to, you guys do great work. You guys know, I love to drink beer, but I don't know anywhere near as much about beer as you guys do. If he's not 100%, don't play AJ. I mean, I kind of feel that way too, Duck. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but with the bye next week, why not? Why not just rest him? Why not just make sure that hamstring is 100%? Dotson can be a playmaker, and I'm shocked, Eric, that Jahan Dotson hasn't been used yet this year much, especially with the injuries. I don't know if it's a chemistry thing because he came in so late. I don't know if he's just not fitting into the system well. This is A.J. Brown's team. It's about to become Jalen Carter's team. That's not enough of a fine. Yeah, 4,600, even if it's 0.56%, not a big enough. How the hell did AJ even get hurt? The Eagles don't even practice. He got hurt. He hurt his hamstring in practice. Look, and there's something there. Yesterday they didn't actually have their typical Wednesday practice. Nick Sirianni said in his pre-practice press conference that they were just going to do a walkthrough and then have a very hard practice today because of how physical the game was last week on Sunday. How many guys were banged up? Look, Lane Johnson was banged up and has the concussion. Jordan Mailata banged up, didn't practice. Mekhi Becton did practice with a cast. He's got a torn ligament in his left ring finger. So he did practice. He said he is going to play on Sunday. So if he goes to right guard, it probably means Fred Johnson at right tackle. Maybe they slide him out and put Steen at right guard. I don't know. I love offensive linemen and defensive linemen when they just put the club on their hand and they just play. So there's that news. But Nick Sirianni, something about, if anybody watched Nick Sirianni's press conference yesterday, go back and look if you haven't. Was he wearing a Christmas hoodie? It kind of looked like he had a Christmas tree on his shirt yesterday at the press conference. Yes, I look at his shirt. Will Phil eat his words when Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, faces the Eagles? I can't wait for that game. I can't wait to get my man Michael K from Carolina on the show. I would take a 5K hit to take out a critical play. I mean, yeah, you're setting. What's 5K? I mean, 0.56% of your salary. Not enough to literally rip a guy's head off. I like to get out of St. Pete, Clearwater, and learn to sometimes Miami Beach. I love Clearwater. Clearwater is the best. I love when Phil pretends to follow the conversation. Yeah, dude, I'm trying. I get so far behind on these comments, I can't help it. Get Gainwell on my team. Yeah, Gainwell's pretty useless. I know. Anthony, what's up, DeJean? Anthony DeJean, are you related to Cooper DeJean? Wilson will have a big game as long as he can keep that holding under control. Johnny Wilson does have a tendency to hold a lot. Cody Clemens is a better fielding third baseman than Alec Bohm. It's borderline. Move Alec to first base and Bryce can DH. Maybe that happens in the future. That's my girl Sully asked in the post-game press conference yesterday to Rob Thompson, will Cody Clemens be on the playoff roster? And he wouldn't answer that question. T-Mac would have been the GOAT if he wasn't often injured. He might have been. He might have had the talent. He might have had the talent to be a top 10 all-time player, T-Mac. He might have been. He was still a top 50 player with the injuries. That's why I don't know if he's on the what-if list or not. But yeah, was that what it was called? Little Penny? I remember. I think they were Sprite commercials. Sprite, maybe. I forget. It was a soda commercial. They had the Little Penny and Big Penny. There were some fun commercials. Back then, 90s like basketball commercials. You had that. You had Grandmama. You had some really high quality commercials put together back in the day. D Rose, Penny Grant Hill, Len Bias. Yeah, Len Bias is obviously for the older heads going to be on a lot of what if lists for sure. I might have to put like a rule like after like 1990 or something like that. I don't know. Football tonight is a must win for the Eagles fans. I missed it. I hinted at this at the beginning of the show. Giants are hosting the Cowboys Thursday night football. Cowboys are 5.5-point favorites, which is kind of a low number, which kind of gives me the thought that the Giants have a chance. If the Giants are 2-2, they still stink. They're not going to really push for the division or a playoff spot. If the Cowboys go to 2-2, that puts pressure on the Eagles to have to win on Sunday. So let me tell you something. We Eagles fans should really be Giants fans tonight. Just imagine how much of a disaster Dallas would be if they lost to the Giants on Thursday Night Football. Home team wins approximately 75% of the time on Thursday Night Football. I may lay a small little $5 or $10 bet on the Giants plus 5.5 tonight. I might. I think there's a chance. And I could be totally wrong and the Cowboys can come out and smoke them. But just saying, I think the Cowboys can lose tonight. Nick Sirianni, word salad does not instill confidence. No, I'm tired of the word salad. Can't wait to see the Cowgirls lose. Look at this. I bring it up and we start talking and Santos says, yeah, let's go. Have we ever been more Giants fans than we are tonight? Nick's presser's the same every week, except he is elite at using synonyms. He puts together very good. He's like at the salad works. I'll take a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, mix it together. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say today. Refs should be fired for not blowing the whistle. 1,000% accurate, mister. 1,000% accurate. Thumbs up, Phil's shorts. What? I know these shorts are not fitting right today. I'm very uncomfortable today. Stone Cold Locks. Yeah. I know Clemens had a better than Nola last year. Oh, my short videos. Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, that's funny. I am not a role model, Charles Barkley. Yeah. Nick's words. Nick's word salad doesn't do him justice. It needs a new analogy. The thing is endless. Now I know why his interviews were 3 to 4 hours long. 15 likes, Mitchie Poo. Not good enough, guys. Please, you're watching Trend in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Whichever, there's 2 YouTube show channels. There's a Facebook page, 2 Twitter accounts. Hit that like button. Hit that share, subscribe, follow button. Retweet it out, guys. If you're watching on Twitter, you get a lot of people watching on Twitter. They never comment. You can comment. Click the video. It opens up a box, and you can comment, guys. Please, greatly appreciate any and all support. Likes and shares and subscribes are free. They don't cost you a penny. Definitely gave up less home runs this year, too. Oh, goodness gracious. Every Eagles fan will be rooting for Dallas tonight, and they rightfully should be. Rightfully should be. Giants are winning tonight is my hot take. Dak is only good if he can use, and he can't. No run game. Giants pass rush is decent and can get to Dak. Look, I'm leaning heavily on the Giants plus 7.5 or plus 5.5. And that's my first pick of the week already. Just so you guys know, I had a bad first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks I wasn't very good. I was right about 500 picking games. Last week against the spread, I was 12-4 picking against the spread last week. My first pick of the week, Giants plus 5.5. Lock it in. I always want Dallas to lose. It's an interesting question, Duck, because I've had this conversation with Mark, who you guys have seen on the show before, and me and Mark have become good friends because of this show and stuff like that. Who's your bigger rival as an Eagles? Is it the Giants, the Commanders, or the Cowboys? And most casual Eagles fans say the Cowboys, but I almost feel like the Giants are a bigger rival than the Cowboys to the Eagles. There have been bigger moments, Eagles versus Giants, throughout the history than Eagles-Cowboys. Bigger moments, bigger games, more on the line, more frequently against the Giants. And they're closer. They're across the bridge from us. Giants might be a bigger rival than the Cowboys, really, when you think deep down and long and hard about it. Yeah, I said long and hard. But yeah, you got to root again. Plus, it's so good for the Eagles' big picture this year. Malik Neighbors is legit. It's a shame he doesn't. I know Malik Neighbors has put up some numbers already this year with Daniel Jones. Imagine what kind of numbers Malik Neighbors would put up with a real quarterback. And if Saquon Barkley was still there. Just imagine that. Could be a big Wendell Robinson game. There's a lot of guys out for the Giants tonight, actually. I remember reading. I don't drag race. I hope both the Giants and Cowboys. Can it end in a tie? That means my plus 5.5 bet would still hit. Can we just get a 17-17 game tonight and that's it? I definitely won't stay up late for that one. Jalen's better than Jalen. In my power rankings, Mitch, Jalen 1, Jalen 2, Jalen 3. I think Dallas. My brother thinks New Jersey Giants. Yeah, see, it's a tough question, Duck. It's very hard pressed to get a set answer on that. It's always the Cowboys. Why? Just thinking. Our cousin thinks the Skins. I've never met anybody that thinks the Skins are ahead of the Cowboys and the Giants in the rivalry arc. Most Eagles fans say they hate the Cowboys, but you're right, Phil. The Giants are number one hated team. Not just hate it, like it's because of the moments. Like, I'm 43. Okay, I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s when my football career started, watching football. Over the last 30, 40 years, bigger moments for the Eagles' history, good and bad, have come against the Giants, in my opinion. Waiting for the emergence of Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I mean, we all are. Cowboy hatred is genetic. Yeah, see, the thing is, if the Cowboys weren't anointed America's team, would they be the most hated team in Philly, or would the Giants be? If they never got that title put on their name, would they be it? And I think that's very interesting. Daniel Jones is 1-6 versus Dallas. That's a good point. He's due for a win against them. Well, I don't know about that. A law of averages don't necessarily work when you're a bad quarterback, but the rest of the Giants team is pretty solid. You put a good quarterback on the Giants, they might be a 500 team. I still stand by it. Daniel Jones might be in a very bad quarterbacks, out of 32 bad quarterbacks. Well, let me rephrase this. There's some bad quarterbacks in the NFL. There's a lot of average quarterback play in the NFL. Daniel Jones, making the money he is probably the worst of the worst. I don't know. Who would you take, Will Levis or Daniel Jones? Who would you take, Zach Wilson or Daniel Jones? Who would you take, Gardner Minshew or Daniel Jones? Name me the quarterbacks you would take Daniel Jones over. Eagles are most hated. People don't talk about the Giants because they're bad right now. They anointed themselves. But then everybody ran with it. ESPN, NFL networks and stuff. Everybody, they might have anointed themselves, but everybody else ran with it. I think that's what annoyed us. The Skins and the Giants haven't been competitive for a long time. The Cowboys are the only team in the division competing for a playoff spot. I think the Washington Commanders are competing for a playoff spot this year. Probably won't get it, but I think they're close. I think they're borderline in that position right now. Giants have definitely won more Super Bowls in the last 40 years than Dallas. Dallas fans still living off of that Super Bowl from the Reagan administration. Also came of age when the Cowboys were good and super obnoxious. That's true. I still remember one of my little brother's birthday parties, and it was pouring rain in October, and Emmitt Smith ran for like 2,000 yards that game on his birthday. I think we lost power in our house that night. I still remember it. We went to Burger King that night. Weird memory burned into my head. And the Cowboys smoked us. I was probably like 14 at the time. Eric, we're talking about the Eagles fans hate. We can't hate ourselves. We do hate ourselves, just so you know. Sugar Shane Falco, yes. Even though he cost me a ton of money at the Sugar Bowl that year, Sugar Shane Falco, yes, I would take him. Because you know why? Sugar Shane Falco, he's got heart. Heart. I got a lot of Shane Falco references. Always on cue at a moment's notice, Steve. The greatest football movie of all time. Right there. No doubt about it. They ran with it because media runs with anything during a slow news cycle. That's true. I'm out. I'm in and out cooking breakfast for my son. I get it. When you're done cooking breakfast, you cook me breakfast. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, what's for breakfast? I need to know what's for breakfast. I fried an egg and put it in between 2 waffles this morning. That was my breakfast. I made my own little breakfast sizzly this morning. While you guys are talking breakfast, I'm going to talk about cherrytickets.com. If you need tickets to a sporting event this fall, we are into fall now. Concert tickets, the Concert Fall Series, theater tickets, go to the best. Go to cherrytickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. They have great prices, no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. And check this out. If you use promo code EOP10 at checkout, on top of the great prices, you'll save an additional 10%. So why would you overpay with the rest? Save with the best. Cherrytickets.com. Again, promo code EOP10. And right back to the comments. Good morning, Jim. Now we supported Rick's podcast. If you need a realtor, this is the name you Google if you need a realtor. The best realtor in the Delaware Valley right here, Jim. My man. Love this guy. So patient with my wife and I, helping us find our house. The best right here, guys. Google that name if you need a realtor to buy or to sell your home. Right there. I'm trying to line my finger up there. Right there. That's the name you need right there. I'm letting everybody advertise for free on the show today. I'll take Shane over Jalen. Oh, stop it. That boy threw a lot. Shane Falco threw a lot of interceptions too, especially in the Sugar Bowl. All right, just so you know. Phil is a member of Burger King Kids Club. I remember that. Remember when Burger King decided to start giving away free popcorn at their restaurants? Like, Burger King is the worst run massive chain organization in the history. When I went to Hotel Restaurant College, we had a whole class, like one day, like not the entire class, like one day of a class discussing all the mistakes Burger King made in marketing of their business. Like literally a whole chapter of a textbook was on how bad Burger King was run. That is no lie. Hopefully, oh my God, are we going to start the pork roll argument again on this show? Blech. Make me gag and throw up with the pork roll conversation. Dude, yeah, fried egg in between 2 waffles is actually pretty damn tasty. How the hell can I Google a name I can't even pronounce? Let's put it up there again. There's Jim's name. Put it up there. That's for Jim. I still butchered 2K1, just so you know. It's okay. It's all right. It is what it is. All right, next great spot. Oh, hold on. I used to enjoy a Whopper Jr. every so often. Yeah, I always used to say Burger King was better than McDonald's. I always did. Bryce Huff's play makes me sick too, considering you got Devin White and Jelix Hunt that can do no worse, and we won't give him a chance. Again, I really feel like there's a double standard there, and it's Howie's fault with Vic Fangio, because Vic Fangio, I see your comment, K1, I'll get to it in a second. Vic Fangio is so firm on this, on so many things, except for when it comes to Bryce Huff. And I feel like it's Howie Roseman meddling, forcing Vicky Boy to do what he's doing. But what do you expect? He was a kid who should have been red-shirted and not put out there amongst the Wolves. Shane wasn't even a could have been. He was a never was. I love it. I like the fact that you typed up that whole entire thing right there. I love it. I love it. I love it. Coach McGinty, hey, he can coach my team any day. I love it. I love this. I love this. Oh, man. His name is Puff. Now cracks me up. Give me Jelix Hunt. Sorry. Too many things popping up there. Give me Jelix Hunt. Look, Davey, I don't understand why. I know Bryce Huff's snap count went down last year. Last week. I do. But not enough. Why wouldn't you? At least give the guy 5 snaps. But yeah, he is an FU kind of guy. Except when it comes to Bryce Huff, who keeps getting put out there. Pork roll is worse. We've had this conversation, Jim, on this show before. Everybody hates me for saying I hate pork roll. And it comes from me working at a pizza shop at 7 a.m. for breakfast on Saturday and Sunday mornings, hungover beyond belief. And the first order always came in pork roll, egg, cheese. And I slapped that pork roll on the flat top grill. And the smell of the pork roll as it curled up on the grill would make me gag. And then I lean over the trash can and hurl. Hate pork roll. No, not going to do that to myself or my man Jim. Johnny Utah was the best quarterback until his knee got folded back and he missed his window. The fact that Keanu Reeves has played multiple retired quarterbacks in movies is kind of beyond. Talk about typecasting yourself. You're always a quarterback, you know? I want to see what the kid can do. Vic literally picked him in the draft. Absolutely, and has not used him, Davey. And the question is, why? Look, this show, we're at the final 30 minutes of this show here. This show is supposed to be centered around the Eagles defense and the Phillies entering the playoffs. The Eagles defense is going to become eventually the identity of this team, led by young guys like Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell. Jelix Hunt could be part of that identity, but we haven't seen him yet. Why? I don't know, because Bryce Huff has obviously done nothing. And if I ever have one criticism of Howie Roseman, it's, well, 2 criticisms kind of linked together. 1, he meddles too much, and 2, he won't admit mistakes. Bryce Huff seems to be a mistake, but he's still forcing Vic Fangio's hand to play him. And that is something that bothers me on the regular. Why is my son doing hardened step backs with sausage patties? Dog, what? No, I won't. No. And he's my friend. I still won't do it. Go Birds, Teresa. What's up, Teresa? Haven't seen the chat in a while. You know what name Phil can pronounce? What? I don't know what name. I can't pronounce many of them. My beautiful Caucasian friends and family introduced me to shitting on a shingle. Best breakfast flex ever. What in the world is that? Only somebody with the name Peanut would eat shit on a shingle. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. That's the worst feeling. I've worked on a flat top and coming in early mornings to smell anything. Yeah, it was that, and when I worked at Friendly's, and that person that would order the frozen liver and onions when you were just literally begging to throw up the alcohol from the night before, which I'm begging to do right now because got home about 5:30 last night, cracked in the bottle of Jack Daniels way too early. Man, stomach is churning today. Vietnamese pork rolls are legit. What makes it Vietnamese pork roll versus regular pork roll? I don't know. Maybe we should do an all-time washed-up movie quarterbacks. Writing it down, Eric. All-time washed-up movie QBs. Well, me and my man Brian, who comments on the show sometime, we're working on it. In 2 weeks, we're playing golf together, me and Brian. We're going to work on this. We're going to start a movie podcast. And we got so many movie topics to cover. All right, we've got 2-3 seasons worth of movie stuff to discuss already. That's one of them right there now. Movie quarterbacks right now. There we go. Corned beef and gravy on toast is a shit on a shingle. Okay, I love corned beef. You mean the cream chip beef? Is that what you're talking about? Used to eat that all the time. Cream chip beef is great. I think sausage gravy over biscuits is better. But I used to eat cream chip beef all the time. Oh man. Maybe we should do movie lawyers. Movie lawyers, I'm sure, will be a topic on my show. The only place you're going to find that movie show is on my personal YouTube page, which is linked below if you're not watching on it, so you better subscribe. Paul Crew, Burt Reynolds is greater than Paul Crew, Adam Sandler, without a doubt for the older people. 1,000%. I want in on the movie podcast. Do you? You're just going to, everybody likes to attach them to my star. You got to interview first, Peanut. You got to go through the interview process, okay? Interview process. Uncle Rico, get Maddie B on that podcast and talk about the Goodfellows. Goodfellows. Steve, vote for Pedro, yeah. All right, guys. Got to get the next great sponsor out of the way right here, and that is Philly Sports Trips. phillysportstrips.com. Make sure you go to their website, phillysportstrips.com, sign up, mention EOP, train the aim when you sign up. They are the premier travel and tailgating company there is. If you want to see the Phillies, the Eagles, the Sixers, the Union, the Flyers on the road, they offer great premium travel packages. We've already seen them from last week in New Orleans and from Green Bay and Brazil. Guys, check them out. They're already taking deposits for spring training Phillies trips next year. They also got great trips to see the Birds on the road this year, like the Eagles taking on the Giants up at MetLife Stadium October 20th, where Saquon Barkley returns to New York. Obviously, we got the Dallas takeover. We're going to march into Dallas, whoop some Cowboy ass, go watch the Yellowstone Season 5 premiere, and then, cheer on our Eagles, guys. And, of course, the bus trip to Baltimore December 1st down to M&T Bank Stadium. Guys, phillysportstrips.com. They also offer great tailgates at Philly events. So check out their website, mention Edge of Philly Sports and Trending in the AM, guys. I guarantee you will not be disappointed if you book through them, guys. There's that. Goodfellows. It's probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen ever. Robert De Niro's a clown. What, does he make you laugh? Favorite movie actor of all time? That's a tough question, Mitchie Poo. Very tough question. There's so many great actors out there. And I'm not sure I don't want to say one or the other right now because I have to think long and hard about that. And I might need a lawyer if I say the wrong name right now. So I cannot answer that question. Obviously, Robert De Niro is one of the greats. Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, Keanu Reeves, Tom Hanks is obviously up there for me. Matt Damon is surprisingly up there for me. There are so many great. I couldn't pick just one favorite actor at all. I went on a couple trips with Philly Sports worth every dollar. Exactly, Peanut. See, just like Adam can vouch for Sherry tickets, Peanut can vouch for Philly Sports trips. Paul Newman is in the verdict, or Jimmy Stewart. Great actors right there as well. Dennis Quaid's a very underrated actor, for sure. Well, can't believe you missed the segue. Nope. I didn't miss anything. I'm choosing to miss it. Greatest male actor, Clint Eastwood. Again, great actor, Michael. That's why you can't pick the greatest actor of all time. There are too many great actors to pick a greatest. You kind of just have to have a list of greats, and then just depending on the mood and depending on the movie that you're watching, and describe it that way. Oh, not feeling the segues today. I don't have segues today. I'm just winging it today. Sinatra wasn't a great actor. Daniel Day-Lewis is a great actor. Great actor. Sinatra's a great singer. I don't know if I would say great actor. Good actor, maybe not great actor. Honestly, I've only seen a few movies that he's been in. Obviously, the original Ocean's 11 is the one I've seen the most frequently. But there's a lot of great actors out there. Anyway, what are we talking about here? What movie would Matty B be good in? Oh my god. He'd be good in Shawshank Redemption. Just lock him in solitary confinement for the entirety of the movie and just never see him the entire time, right? Guys, we're talking Eagles defense, and the identity of this Eagles team is nobody's talked about Christopher Sanchez. I brought up his name multiple times. Is he the biggest surprise bright spot from the 2024 Eagles? Are we concerned with any of the injuries? Are we concerned with Nick Sirianni? Jalen Hurts against Todd Bowles blitzes. We're talking Giants beating the Cowboys tonight. And obviously, we're talking about movies today. Guys, we got 25 minutes left in the show. You should do a greatest movie actor bracket daily to see what is the opinions vote. I like that. Like a March Madness, great actors. Yep. You guys think I got all this free time? You think I got all this free time to put all this shit together? Like I got all the time in the world. Unfortunately, I don't have all the time in the world. I do this, and then I got to go work 14 hours today. And I got to come home and record the Eagles Checkdown on the Eagles Pin Pull Podcast Network. And then I got to go to sleep and then get up and do this all over again. I love that you shout out Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates is actually pretty brilliant, honestly. I'm always concerned about Jalen. Which Jalen? Jalen 1, Jalen 2, Jalen 3. Jack Nicholson is my personal favorite. Phenomenal actor, of course. Kevin Kline was that's a funny comment there. Denzel, Anthony Hopkins. I think Anthony Hopkins is underrated and underappreciated for what he does. For sure. I think Denzel Washington gets enough credit for what he does. The Shining was great. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, great movie. Maybe the best Joker of all time. I get torn between him and Heath Ledger as the Joker and who I like the best. It could be worse, Phil. You could be shining shoes on a shine. Go shine. Go get your shine box, okay? Will Ferrell is the most overrated comedic actor out there. 1,000%. He's got a couple of great movies, but he's got a lot more misses, in my opinion, than people are willing to admit. So, no, Will Ferrell's not on my list. Made me cry. I've never seen Flight, honestly. Won't lie. Never saw it. But, guys, I'm going to have to poorly segue into another sponsorship if you guys don't get this back on track and talk a little football or baseball. Because when you're talking football and baseball, you talk football, baseball, beer, burgers, wings. And the place to get burgers, beers, and wings is at Dolan's Bar in Ridley Park, 24 East Sellers Avenue. For 65 plus years, they've been kicking ass down there in Ridley Park. The quintessential Irish American dive bar. Go on in there for the Eagles game on Sunday. Go in there for Red October. Let PJ and the crew know you heard about them right here on Training the AM on Edge of Philly Sports, DolansBar.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, on social media. Again, Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park. You don't want to miss them. You want to check them out for sure. Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. Nicolas Cage is pretty much plays the same character everywhere. Will Ferrell never takes responsibility for his actions. Runaway Little Boy. Okay, back to football. I'm trying to get it back to sports. I'm trying, Davey. I'm trying. These movies say when we move into movies, it's just for a few of you. Everyone else just tunes out of the show. It's just for like the 5 or 6 people that want to make random movie references. You know what? You could take your sorries and stick them in a sack, okay? I think Step Brothers is so overrated. There, I said it. Step Brothers is overrated. I don't find it that funny. My son says Jack Nicholson is the most overrated Joker. Well, I say your son is overrated, okay? Davey votes stop. Let's not bring that into the equation. Phillies 3 games left, 5.5 behind the Dodgers for number 1 seed. Do we get the 1 seed or does it matter at this point? I think it matters if you think the Phillies are going to get out of the first round or the second round of the playoffs. You want the NL pennant to come through Philadelphia. Here's a question for you, Jose. Here's a question I don't think enough Phillies fans are willing to admit. The splits, the numbers on Aaron Nola, home and away, which is better on the road than at home. Do you even consider not pitching Aaron Nola in game 2, no matter where it is, in Philly or on the road? Do you go Chris Sanchez in game 2, and then game 3, Aaron Nola on the road? It means you get one less opportunity of Aaron Nola, though. So it's a tough call. I still say you give Aaron Nola game 2 no matter what. So I don't know that matters so much, but I think, there's some respect that comes with earning the number 1 seed overall in the National League. So I think it's important. I also want to see our guys get healthy. I wouldn't mind the Phillies, mixing around the rotation this weekend to make sure these guys get fully rested for the playoff run. See what you started? Yeah, you always start trouble. When you start trouble like this, Mitchie Poo, I think of calling a great lawyer. And the greatest lawyer in the state of Pennsylvania is David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm. Workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law. Call the best. Call David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com or call 610-565-0300 and let David R. Cherry fight for you and get you what you deserve. Again, David R. Cherry, 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Next time you make a 69 joke, I'm gonna have to call David R. Cherry. Phil, I went 10-6 last week, 27-21. Yeah, so I went 12-4 last week. That puts me at 27-20-1 on the season. I had that one push in week 1. So I had a bad week 2, but we're basically one tie away from being spot on through 3 weeks. Thanks to that Tom Hanks does okay at his acting. Yeah, he's pretty okay. Yeah, I figured that's what that meant. Was that a we won't go back reference? What? Keep Sanchez where he's comfortable. Absolutely, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Sorry, Duck. I need to back to football or Phil gonna be. Yeah, I am. We got the cherry bombs coming on in. We're just gonna like them. Oh, that's the stash making an appearance. And that the stash will always make an appearance from here on out. And when somebody watches the show for the first time, and they see me flipping it back with and without the stash, it's gonna throw a lot of people off. Let's just for the fun of it. Let's just throw that up there again. Look, I just quickly do that. And it's almost like I'm showing a video there. I love it. I think it's hilarious that we got that stash working like that. Guys, final 15 of the show today. All right. Let's reel this back in. And let's reel this back in as best we can here. Let me see. I got a dozen notifications on Twitter right now. And again, it comes back to on Twitter, the fact that all my notifications on Twitter are because hold on, what's it say here? Hey bud, here's how the headline shows up on the link. Young hold on, I gotta share this, guys. I'm just checking all these notifications on Twitter. You want to see something funny? Here? I got my man Pete's Gritty Reboot on Twitter here. This is what he sees when he sees my show on Twitter. Does anybody notice something interesting here about what he sees on Twitter? Anybody notice? Young and hung. The Eagles defense is young and hung. Just going to say that is something that, I'm not sure even how to react to that one right there. Yeah. Lots of comments on my post about Jalen Hurts and them. So, yeah. Man, the porn stash. Yeah, guys, I'm telling you, if I get to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, if EOP gets to 20,000 subscribers, sure, I'll go porn stash. Why not? But that's the only way I'm doing porn stash. I'm more concerned about Jalen than Jalen. Cherry stash is on fire. Nola doesn't worry me at all during postseason. He's locked in. He's locked in normally for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Then he tails off towards the end, which is always a concern for me. I heard Rossini said A.J. Brown was going to miss 6 weeks. Well, this week would be week 3. The bye would week 4. I don't know if he's going to miss 6 weeks. But that's why I'm not rushing him back. Couple of movable fumbles the first 3 quarters of the show, but going to finish strong. You sure you don't play for the Birds? Yeah, exactly. Vikings are the surprise team. I find it hard to believe Sam Darnold, will be able to keep up an MVP rate throughout the season. Phil is creating a butterfly effect. 10 years from now, people will say they remember DRC with his mustache. Yeah, right. Got any bets for tonight's game? Giants plus 5.5. I haven't looked at the board totally yet. I will put together a parlay. I'll probably tweet it out later. But yeah, was it just me or was Sirianni low energy in his presser yesterday? I actually agree with that. Almost like he got a talking to from Howie Roseman about him talking about how he calls plays. I watch all these press conferences. I pull out my notebook and I take notes. I literally wrote down, backtracked on play calling because he said Kellen Moore drives the car, he runs the show, calls the plays, and makes the game plan. He mentioned Mailata not practicing, Becton hand in the cast, and that they were walking through. That's all he said. It was the most useless 15-minute press conference I had ever heard. What's our game plan for Sunday? Run the ball. Run the ball. Run it more, and run it some more. Sorry if this has been covered already. Would you start to? I just mentioned that like 2 minutes ago, Jim. I would consider it, but the problem with that is then you're getting one less game of Aaron Nola potentially. If the series goes 6 games, then you get one. You don't get you get a second game of Sanchez. I kind of feel like you got to have as many turns through the rotation of Wheeler and Nola as you can. But I get the philosophy. I understand the philosophy and what you're saying. I just don't think that is what I would do. 49ers have to test Brock Purdy. To see if he's worth a new contract. It's going to be interesting. If Devin White wants to contribute, he should be in the film room all week with Jalen Hurts tutoring him. Rick, I don't know if it was me and you or somebody else earlier this week. We've talked about that. And Devin White has done a fantastic job, even though he's pissed that he's not playing, staying involved as a leader on this team. And you see that last week with how he's pumping up Zach Bond on the sidelines after big plays. Devin White wants to be the leader. He's in that text message group, leadership group. He should be coaching Jalen Hurts on Todd Bowles. We know the numbers. I've already gone over them. Be interesting to see what Todd Bowles does against Jalen Hurts this week. Sirianni just needs to put a Marshawn Lynch eye here to not get fired. Yeah, that's true. If Dallas loses tonight, guys, it'll be the funnest bye week for the Eagles next week if Jalen Hurts. And I'm trying to line up some great guests for next week since it's the bye week next week. Trying to find a Phillies guest. I've already got one Eagles guest lined up for Thursday, one Eagles content creator guest. Dude, we're going to try to line up a who's who of Eagles guests for next week and Phillies guests for next week. Maybe I'll even try to get Sean Bernard as we get close to Sixers time. Maybe I'll get Sean Bernard on the show next week as well. We're going to have a fun week next week for sure. Hope we didn't lose faith in Suarez. He was lights out at the beginning of the season. I have lost faith, Jose, in Ranger Suarez. Not big picture going forward, but this season. Ranger Suarez, to me, Jose, looks burned out right now. Looks dead arm right now. I have zero confidence that he can give you more than 3 or 4 innings in a playoff game. To me, he starts game 4 of a 7-game series, and that's it. In my opinion, you can't give him more than that spot. If anything, maybe you use him out of the bullpen. Saquon has already had 70 carries in 3 games. Let's get Shipley in there to carry some of the load. I'm shocked that he's had 70 already, Davey. It doesn't feel like he's had 70 carries already. Sure, it's 70 carries and not 70 total carries and catches. He only had 17 last week, which would mean he had 53 in the first 2 weeks. I think your numbers might be off there. Let me see. I got the depth chart here. I can find this really quickly. He's got 63 carries through 3 weeks, okay? 63 carries through 3 weeks. Just so you know. So there you go. I fact checked for you. 17, 22, and 24 over the last 3 weeks. So they've gone down, actually. 24 in week 1 against Green Bay, 22 in week 2 against Atlanta, 17 last week. Just so you know. McNabb won a lot of football with just a great running back and tight end. If Hurts is for real, he should win with Saquon and Goddard. He did win with just Saquon and Goddard last week. Should I start Devin Singletary at fantasy? Over who? What are your other options, man, Chad? You can't just give me one portion of it. Kellen Moore's the driver. The Eagles are the car. And Nick is the mayhem guy from the commercial who always causes accidents. That might be. That's worthy of a screenshot right there. I got to screenshot this. I do. That is a comment right there. That is worthy of a Twitter post right there. That is a fantastic comment. Eric might win commenter of the day right there. He gets a free consultation with David Archeri on me if he needs one. Saquon is averaging like 115 yards per. Yep, absolutely. I don't know. I gotta put this back up. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is great. This is great. I wish you had a Twitter account, Eric, because I'd be tagging in this. 63 still, yeah, it's still a lot. True. And Will Shipley, let me go back to how he phrased it. Let me find it in my notes here from Monday. He was asked about the wide receiver injuries, and he talked about how he mentioned how he's confident in Johnny Wilson and Jahan Dotson and Paris Campbell. If AJ and Devontae can't go, but then he said, but we also have a great running back room too, meaning Shipley and Kenny Gainwell. And I would be shocked if we don't see more two-back sets or one running back lined up in the slot this week against Tampa. I would be shocked if we don't see that. So you might get a Will Shipley play or two this week. Will Devin see the field this week? He should. We've said this multiple times throughout the show. The fact that he hasn't is insane. Just so you know. And with Bryce Huff doing nothing, why not? Gibbs, Lions running back, J.K. Dobbins, Josh Jacobs, Zach Charbonnet. Is Zach still hurt? I think Walker back soon. Need to start 3 running backs. Well, I go Gibbs. I go Gibbs without knowing all the matchups. I know the Lions play on Sunday or Monday Night Football. I'm probably going Gibbs, Jacobs, and probably Singletary against the Giants or against the Cowboys for the Giants. They would probably be the 3 I'd go. I'd probably go Gibbs, Jacobs, and Devin. That would be probably the 3 I'd pick. I don't know if anybody agrees with me on that. Just don't want him burned out. I hear you. Not 69. Damn. Yeah, of course. Don't ever change. Big up, Eric. Yeah, Eric with the comment of the day. The city is too hard on Sirianni a lot of the time. The guy wins consistently. Is he the best head coach in the league? No. Andy Reid is, and the people were too hard on him when he was here. Be thankful what you have. The grass ain't always greener on the other side, Rick, is what I always tell people. Yeah, you're getting a lot of applause on that one, for sure. Yeah, just look, I've kind of toned down my fantasy football playing over the years. Not as heavily involved, but I do know what good football is. And with your running back room, again, Gibbs is due for a breakout game. Josh Jacobs gets a lot. And the Giants' run defense is not very good. What about Gainwell? Gainwell will probably see the field more than he has because of the wide receiver issue. Lions, Jameis Winston is not getting it done. I need to drop him. He had a great week 1, didn't he? Didn't he have like 100 yards receiving in week 1? Jameson Williams was a guy that a lot of Eagles fans wanted in the draft 2 years ago. And we went. That was the Jordan Davis year, right? I know. And he fell because of an injury and stuff like that to Detroit. So yeah, I mean, or was that the Jalen Carter year? Whatever. Dallas can't stop the run. Singletary anytime score tonight is a lock. I like it. I like it as an option for sure, Steve. I do. I saw somebody else say, stop. Don't even start that in the final 5 minutes of a show, guys. Let's not yeet, okay? Let's not yeet today, all right? But please, if you're watching this show, Trending in the AM on Edge of Philly Sports, please hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, that retweet, that follow button. It is free to support. You got idiots out there like BLG and Marks talking about Jalen Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts. They're getting hundreds of thousands of views. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to listen to that nonsense. They don't care about your opinion like I do. So, guys, please, I'm begging each and every one of you, 90 of you watching right now, please hit those buttons and share. The rocket ship has landed. I'm over the Joe Hendry hype. It's over. Great show. I appreciate it, Rick. I'll never stop until I'm number 1 in the ratings, until Crossing Broad adds me to the Radio Wars battle. I'm going to continue going. I'm still going to continue begging and pleading for likes and shares and subscribes. That's what I do. I got to beg. I got to plead with you guys. You can plug and play and listen to the car. You complain about the radio, but you still listen to the radio. You don't have to. I'm not even going to put that comment up on the screen, Davey, because that is not what we do on this show. We do not discuss politics, Davey, on this show. We will not discuss the election. The only thing we'll discuss politically on this show is the fact that my wife and I were joking about our new township, East Fallowfield Township, just outside of Coatesville, and how there was a big township meeting, and those board of supervisors are a bunch of idiots, and I might decide in 2025 to run for one of the open board of supervisor seats. I might dip my toes into politics. That's the only thing we'll ever talk about. But we are not talking politics, and it's not because I disagree or agree with you. It's just because We're just not going to do it. Believe in VCP. There we go. That's something we can all get behind. Anyone know how to get Chef Boyardee ravioli out of what? Yeah. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up right there. I got to get to work here. I got lots going on today. But with that being said, please, again, like I said a few moments ago, this is Trey in the AM. Please like, share, subscribe, follow. Phil, Kissing Babies, Stiefel. You got to spell the last name right if you want to say it. My name is on the screen, so it's hard not to spell it right, Duck. But yeah, I'm thinking about it. Just so I could be publicly an asshole to everybody on the board. Two things came up this week in the Board of Supervisors meeting in East Fallowfield. They're banning plastic bags at all businesses. There's only 2 towns in our business, or 2 restaurants that use plastic bags, and they're banning them. And they're going to build a $7 million township building for the 7,000 people that live in East Fallowfield Township. Makes 0 sense. So I'm going to sign on. I'm going to run, and I'm going to take it over. Jim, have a great day. Go Giants tonight. Absolutely. Get Fox's Den Pizza. It's Fox's Pizza Den, you nitwit. 500 super chat. Yeah, I know you know. And you can say it in the comments, and maybe someone in the comments will see it. Maybe it'll affect somebody's vote. Maybe it will. But on the show, I won't put it up on the screen. I avoid politics. It's too. I chat with Anthony privately, who comments on the show. He made a comment once on the other side of the equation, and he said, well, you should say this. And I'm like, look, I sent a message privately. I will not talk politics. I just won't, because there's too much hate. You can't have an opinion in politics without somebody else hating you and calling you names and stuff like that. You can't have a logical discussion about what's good and what's wrong, or about what your opinion is, even because somebody else's opinion. I just can't get into it. ECP 2024. That's right. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up right there, guys. I got to get to work, guys. Have a great day, everybody. Go Birds. Ring the bell. Hey, Roger, I'll never do it. I will never. I looked up if there's a mayor of East Fallowfield. There's not. But I would love to be the mayor of East Fallowfield. Roger, we don't do that. We can't. This is a sports talk show. We talk movies. We talk life. We do talk important issues from time to time. But politics is too... I'm going to talk politics now. I got to go to work, but I'm going to talk for 1 second here. I was watching a video recently of Obama versus Romney debating. And that was what, like 12, 15 years ago? And it was like, they had 2 different opinions, but they were so like professional about it. Like, we have fallen so far from that Romney-Obama debate where it's just hate slandering at each other. And the one side slandering hate at the other side, who's side throwing hate back at them. And it drives me nuts. And I saw that video, and it made me think so hard about how far we as the American people have come. And it sucks that we're there. Why can't we just discuss issues and what's important and discuss it like we discuss, Brian and I on here? Brian hates Jalen Hurts. He thinks he sucks. I don't think he sucks. We debate and we discuss. But if I bring in politics, you can't do that. And it drives me nuts that that's where we've become. And it drives me nuts. It does. It is. It's a no-win scenario, guys. It really, truly is. So anyway, with that being said, we're done for the day. We'll be back tomorrow. Keys to an Eagles victory. We'll predict every NFL game. We'll go through the entire slate. We'll talk how the Giants beat the Cowboys tonight. Who else knows what will come up in the conversation tomorrow? Guys, I appreciate you. Another fun-filled episode today of Training the AM. For the replay gang, I do check comments, so drop your comments in the replay gang in the comments section. Like, share, subscribe, follow, guys. Ring that bell, guys. Go Birds, and bubbles up to you.